Dankeschön, Maria, super. Ingeborg.
Thank you, Maria. Great. Ingeborg. Ingeborg, you're part on non-state actors.
Coordinator of the working group on gender-based violence as torture inflicted by non-state actors. Very complicated. I'm chair of the Sustainable Development Committee, and we have joint efforts in the Vienna NGO community. Together with the Committee on the Status of Women, chaired by Evelyn Dürrmeier, and the Alliance of NGOs on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, currently led by Ian Tennant, we represent more than 100 international NGOs working on a voluntary basis on both national and international levels. Our organizations are accredited at the UN office in Vienna and act as fora for the exchange of information and views on matters of common interest. Furthermore, the Alliance, as the umbrella organization, ensures that civil society are recognized and heard in advancing the crime prevention and criminal justice agenda and in designing, implementing, and measuring results of relevant policies everywhere. In September 21, inspired by the book Women Unsilenced by Jean Sarson and Linda MacDonald and the Vienna Declaration on Femicide as a blueprint, members of these three organizations started the Non-State Torture Working Group, hosted by the Alliance, which was led at that time by Anna Alvazzi del Frate. Welcome here. The aim of the group is to document research towards a model strategy to promote global awareness to end non-state torture crimes, especially against women and girls, and to ensure full application of human rights for everyone. The working group is systematically analyzing all UN documents with references to gender-based violence and torture, including reports of the special rapporteurs and other publications. We also started to conduct a legal mapping and analysis of domestic provisions on torture, mostly focusing on provisions of criminal codes, torture laws, and femicide laws from selected countries with a view to compile best practices and approaches adopted by countries when criminalizing torture. We are encouraged by a group of independent UN human rights rapporteurs and special human rights experts and special rapporteurs who have already signed the need to change the direction of this existing legacy and insisted that the UN address this issue on an urgent basis. Several Vienna-based diplomats have expressed an interest in our initiative and are supporting and sponsoring events. The main challenges. The preliminary findings of our legal analysis revealed that many of the domestic laws reviewed are tied to the state involvement requirement provided in Article 1 of the UN Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman and Degrading Treatment or Punishment, thus limiting the possibility of applying sanctions only if torture is inflicted by state actors, by public officials or other persons acting in an official capacity. This means de facto leaving out a large number of victims of various forms of torture, especially gender-based violence, if perpetrators are non-state actors. Our initial recommendations, therefore, are to recognize the state's obligation to broaden the scope of the definition of torture in their domestic criminal codes, to include torture as a form of domestic violence against women and girls, explaining the purpose of abuse and its full pattern, to include non-discrimination clauses, gender-based violence, and violence of sexual nature as form of torture. The working group urges member states to join and support side events, expert meetings, and statements delivered at relevant sessions of CCPCJ and other relevant bodies. We believe that time is ripe to advance towards a more formal recognition of non-state torture as a key element to effectively prevent and combat gender-based violence. This is urgent to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals to eliminate violence against women and girls, number 5.1 and 2, to end forced labor, slavery and trafficking, 8.7, and the exploitation and torture of children, 16.2. Thank you.
Thank you, Inge. Perfect timekeeping. We go to Marie-Louise, Women, Asylum Seekers and Refugees.